Hello and welcome to another Earth911 interview. We're talking to the publishers and creators of green websites that we admire, and today we're very pleased to be joined by Micaela Preston, who is the founder and creator of MindfulMomma.com, a site that's been around since 2006, offering green lifestyle information and a great set of products that she has curated herself and offers through the site. Micaela is also the author of Practically Green, a book on living green, lots of great ideas, cut out guides to take with you shopping and so forth, and it's available on Amazon.com, on Kindle, and in print. Micaela, welcome to Earth911. How are you today?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. And why don't we start by how did Mindful Mama get started? What was the catalyst? Obviously, you were a parent. How did you get started?
Yes, sure. So as you mentioned, I started Mindful Mama way back in 2006, which, makes me a real dinosaur in the blogging world. But at the time I had two young boys, and what I was going through at that time was that I was really starting to question a lot of the purchases I was making, and I was concerned about, chemicals in products and things that I might be feeding my kids or exposing my kids to. And this is, a catalyst for a lot of parents when they have little people that they need to take care of. They all of a sudden become, very much more aware of the products they're buying and the choices that they're making. So at that point, I started to research a lot of things myself. And actually, one of the specific things that got me started in writing the blog was had to do with plastic bottles. So I had decided that I was going to be on a green mission to stop buying those disposable plastic bottles that At that point I actually did buy by the case at Costco, I think. And I was going to ditch those and buy some reusable bottles. So I bought some plastic reusable bottles from somewhere and started using them. And then very shortly after that, I started hearing about the BPA leaching from bottles into the water. And I was like, what? And I was just sort of dumbfounded, like, wait a minute, I'm trying to do something good here, and now there's something bad. And so, I decided to do some digging into that. And then at the same time, I started hearing about blogs and reading some blogs. And I was kind of fascinated with that as a way to share information. So I decided to start Mindful Mama, and I started with just a few posts researching some specific things like that. And so the plastic bottles was one of my first posts. And, basically I just wanted to share with other people the information that I was learning so that they would understand too that there was, sometimes more than one side to a story. It was complicated, and what could they do about it? So yeah, that's really how it started, and just kept going from there.
Well, and your point about more than one side, it's that there are many approaches to getting to similar goals, some of which hide bad things. And let's talk about mindfulness, because a lot of people, when they think of mindfulness, think more about being present. But what we're talking about here is more a matter of being conscious of your decisions. How did you settle on the idea of mindfulness, and how have you practiced it?
Yes. It's true that, when I created that name, Mindful Mama, it wasn't because I was trying to tell people about how to meditate every day. That mindfulness in this case is really about taking the time to be aware of the choices that you have and, evaluating them and making your decisions, but not being judgmental about your decisions. So, all of us in real life are busy, and we have constraints of both time and money. Those are the big ones. And that we can't always make the best choice every time. But to me, it's just important to be mindful of the choices. So yes, I wanted to buy that healthy food or make that healthy meal, but this week I didn't have time because I was too busy, and I had to go to the grocery store and grab something real quick, or that's just one example, but there's those trade-offs in life all the time. And so my goal with Mindful Mama was just to help people be aware of those choices,
Mm-hmm.
and to just think about it, before they made them. So to be educated and aware is the primary
So let me ask
goal.
about your sons. They've grown for many years with their mother practicing a mindful, sustainable lifestyle. How has that changed them, and what do you see the impact of your awareness? Has it changed them?
Sure. Well, yeah, it's been really fun to see them grow over the years, and kind of pick up some of the things that I've taught them over the years about being more mindful about the products that we use and what we eat, and how we take care of the earth. And, even from when they were much younger, they would do things like remind me to turn off the lights when I left the room, and to not, throw something away, or
Right.
whatever it was. And then also with food, making their own choices about food, and they do have plenty of opportunities for junk food in their life, and every kid does. And so I've always wanted to teach them that it's important to enjoy some great junk food sometimes, but also to eat, your power food, I call it, your
Mm-hmm.
the food that's good for you, that's going to power you. And so it's been fun to watch those trade-offs. And now my kids are teenagers. I have a 14-year-old and an 18-year-old, and that the 18-year-old is off in college now, and he even told me that it's interesting to be in an environment now where in the dorm, he could have soda every day if he wanted to, because it's
Yeah,
available, but he doesn't. So, he's mindful of his choices, and he does
that's
have
right.
one every once in a while because he likes it, but he doesn't do it every day, certainly. So I'm pleased that he is, taking some of those things to heart, even as a young adult.
Well, I'll tell you, just having two more people who are mindful is helpful. Now, on your site, you take a swaps approach in many of your articles, and let's talk about some of the swaps that you have gone through and really detailed with both great information and great finds. I mean, you surface a lot of options in for instance, kitchen products that I had not seen before.
Oh,
Uh,
good.
how? Uh, Let's talk about that. Let's talk about, particularly about the zero waste plastic wraps. It's something that we've written about recently as well, but you've got years of coverage. Now, first off, we all understand why not using plastic wrap is a good idea, because it's a single-use throwaway item and all of that.
Mhm.
But what are the best options or alternatives to plastic wrap, in your opinion?
Sure. Yeah, I have written an entire post just about zero waste alternatives to plastic wrap, because there are a bunch of things that you can do, and some people aren't aware of that yet. So
Mm-hmm.
so yes, one of my favorites is something called bowl covers. It's a simple idea, and the ones I use are cloth. They're kind of a slightly laminated cloth with
Mm-hmm.
stretchy sides. And so I just pop those bowl covers on top of lots of things. So, whether it's a bread dough or leftovers that I'm putting in the fridge. So those are wonderful,
Mm-hmm.
reusable bowl covers. Um, Another option is reusable beeswax wrap, which has become pretty popular these days, but not everyone has tried it. So it's like a cotton fabric that's infused with
Mm-hmm.
beeswax, and then you can use the warmth of your hand to basically mold it around the bowl or
Right.
the food. So you don't even, it could just be, you take your half of a lemon that's left over and you mold the beeswax around it and put it in the fridge.
Now, how many times do you find that those beeswax wrappers are useful before they need to be recycled?
What I've been told is it's around 6 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
I think it really varies on how much you use it. And also, you can re-infuse your wrap with beeswax again. I actually have a tutorial on my blog for how to make your own beeswax wraps. So I actually just took cotton fabric scraps that I had
Right.
in my house already, bought some beeswax pellets and you melt them and you brush them on, put them in the oven. It's really pretty easy. So and you can reinfuse them. So it's actually kind of a nice product because it doesn't have to be that you can keep using it.
So another area where you have a lot of information is on various kitchen products that are reusable. Let's talk a little about that. First off, what kinds of things do you think of as reusable in the kitchen? What should people stop thinking can't be reused and start thinking can be reused?
Well, one of the big ones is paper towels. People think that they need a roll of actual paper towels to clean up spills and throw away afterwards. But I use what some people call reusable paper towels or unpaper towels. However, you could also just use rags, like old T-shirts or something like that. So there are, nice products that you can buy that are terry cloth on one side and cotton fabric on the other. They're very absorbent, and I keep them underneath my sink, kitchen sink and bathroom sink, for both spills and for cleaning, household cleaning.
Right.
But like I said, you don't have to buy something new just to do that. You can use old T-shirts or old towels, old dish towels that are beyond their prime, turn into great reusable paper towels. And another point about it is that, it's part of it is just the habit. So people just have a habit ingrained to always grab a paper towel. Well, if you can just get yourself to use reusable ones for a while, you will get in the habit of the reusables and you'll forget about the paper ones.
It took a long time at my house.
Yeah, a lot of this is about habit. I have to say that, they're not hard changes to make, but you're just so in the habit of doing the things that you do every day, especially when you're busy in the kitchen.
Sure.
So.
Well, I found that it's also an issue of marital politics sometimes too.
Yeah, that could be true.
But that's why we're all on this long path towards a new way of doing things. Now, the other area that I wanted to talk to you a little about is personal care products. You do some. You've got some great selections of, for instance, non-toxic shampoos and deodorants that are good for the world. But I want to ask you a question that I just had this discussion yesterday with somebody from Asia. They asked about what kind of deodorant I used, which I thought was a very strange thing, but they know I'm involved in sustainability. And my answer is that, I actually reluctantly use deodorant because I know that I've evolved, or our species has evolved specific glands in our armpits to support the bacteria we're trying to kill with deodorants. When you talk about natural deodorants, are we talking about things that continue to kill those things, or are we talking about simply another alternative for covering up the fact that they're there? Do you see the difference I'm getting
Sure.
at?
Yeah. I think in most cases, for the general public, that, the idea of switching to a natural deodorant is mainly to get away from chemicals that are in conventional products that might be harmful to you, like since the parabens or the phthalates that are in fragrances. So the artificial fragrances that are in so many deodorants aren't good for you, and then some other ingredients like aluminum in antiperspirant, for instance. So that would be the main reason. But I think one thing that I have, heard about from people, and this is very clear, is that deodorant, everyone is different when it comes to deodorant. So they need different things. And you'll see lots of discussions online about non-toxic deodorants that didn't work for people. Well, that one never worked for me, or none of them work for me, or
but they might work for
this certain
else.
One does. But one solution that some people have had is that they're doing these armpit detoxes where they're taking like a clay, like a bentonite clay paste, and putting it under their armpits, and that is apparently helps some people. It helps their armpits acclimate in some way, and that they can then start using the natural deodorants. And I think it's because their body is so used to what they're using that it takes
chemicals.
a while. Yeah. And no, I haven't done this myself because I just am, I guess, lucky in that I don't have a big problem in that area. But I have known people who have done it. And so I think that has helped.
So which non chemical deodorants do you recommend?
There are a number of brands, and I've tried a lot of them, and so there are a lot of them that I like. I can't say I have one particular favorite, but I like Native a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I like Schmidt's.
I know that.
Let's see. I'm just trying to remember some of the other smaller brands. There's one called Pit Putty. One thing that's nice is some of the deodorants come in glass jars as a deodorant cream. And so that's a way of, reducing your impact a little bit, that you're using a jar which could potentially be refilled. Some people make their own deodorants and refillable.
We have recipes.
Containers, yes. So that's, just kind of getting into that side of wanting to reduce your, impact on the planet with all these. Most deodorants come in plastic containers, so it's kind of nice to be able to reduce that. So yeah, those are a few of my favorites.
And how about shampoo? In terms of not necessarily the specific products, but what should somebody be looking for in a natural, non-toxic shampoo?
Well, ingredient-wise, you want to look for something that doesn't have parabens, which are paraben preservatives, which are in a lot of conventional products, and then the artificial fragrances as well, because fragrance is really basically it's a catch-all for like thousands of different chemicals that are in a product. And when you see the word fragrance, you really have no idea what's in there.
Yeah.
So a natural shampoo would be fragranced with or scented with usually natural essential oils, and also kind of a lighter fragrance, which I prefer as well. Instead of some commercial products are so heavily fragranced, it's really I can barely even stand that anymore.
Yeah, I don't know why people are obsessed with smelling like something that came out of a Parisian perfumery.
Yeah. But so that's ingredients, and then in terms of your impact on the planet with buying shampoos, there are definitely there's a movement towards shampoo bars and also dry shampoos. So if you don't want to wash your hair every day, people use it's a powder. Right. With a kind of like a clay base, and that can help you extend the time between washing your hair a little bit longer, and then the shampoo bars are really making it a comeback. So that is sold either possibly with a small cardboard box, but then you're doing without the plastic bottle.
Right. So now you have a marketplace on your site, and obviously you go through the things that you're recommending and use them. But what can people count on in terms of you having vetted the products in your marketplace?
Sure. Well, I have used everything that's in there, so I wouldn't put it in there if I didn't really believe it and hadn't tried it and love it myself. So yeah, I definitely spend time researching a lot of different products, and I want to be a resource to people where they can trust what they're going to find through my website. So yes, and that marketplace covers everything from the personal care products to some mattresses and things like that, to some food products. There are so many great companies to buy from these days.
All the time. Yep.
Yeah. So
well, that's great.
helpful.
And you've helped me find some things, so
good.
I've appreciated it. Well, Micaela, thank you very much for joining us on the show. Now, everybody, please go check out MindfulMomma.com. We've talked about a number of stories on the site. Search for non-toxic shampoo, for renewable kitchen products, and zero-waste plastic wrap swaps. And you'll find what we were talking about today. Micaela, what's next for Mindful Mama? Anything upcoming that we should be keeping an eye out for?
Well, I'm working on a post right now about zero waste alternatives in the bathroom. So taking a deep dive into all the things we use every day in the bathroom without even thinking about it. And some of them are kind of wasteful. A lot of disposable products like, razors and, face wipes and lots of things like that. So I'm looking at more eco-friendly alternatives to a lot of those things.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to reading it. Folks, this is Micaela Preston, who's the founder of MindfulMomma.com. And thanks very much for being on the show today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
We'll be back with another innovator interview on sustainability near you soon. This is Mitch Ratcliffe. You're listening to Earth 911. Thanks for being here.